Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, and I am here to give you life skills that are going to make your life better. So, whether you're an addict or a partner, I gotta tell you, I too have to check myself at the door. Meaning, when things happen to me, I have to decide how am I going to handle them. And truly, I use the RAINS method. Now, the official method is done through a meditative technique, and it's called RAIN, but I've added a little bit to it. What I know to be true is when something has stifled me or made me angry or upset or made me feel shame or guilt, obviously that applies to both addicts and their partners, I say to myself, hey, I need to recognize what's the trigger. I need to decide what it is that I need to look at. If I recognize it, as in the R in RAIN, I can better identify what it is that I need to do. Now, that can be tough, and I gotta tell you, you know you have the feeling, but recognizing what does it mean to you can be difficult. So I look at two things. I look at what am I thinking, what am I feeling, and what does my gut say? And that's the R in recognize. Then I go to the next letter in RAIN, and that's A. Now, some people say that A stands for allow. Other people say that A stands for acknowledge. So I want to ask myself, if I'm acknowledging that it is what it is, then I have to admit that I'm probably having a feeling. And you know me, I'm Carol the coach, and I believe in 5 feelings, and they're primary: anger, sadness, loneliness, happiness, and fear. So what are your 5 feelings? What are you feeling? And if you're an addict, you may feel an additional 6th or 7th feeling, and that is shame or guilt. So move the shame and guilt away, and then say, am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling afraid? Am I feeling anger, sadness, or happiness? And when you acknowledge the feeling, you have to say to yourself, why do I feel that? You know, what's going on inside of me? Is it something that happened today? Or does it, in some way, bring back memories from the past? You know, what I know to be true for both addicts and partners is that oftentimes the trigger is what's happened in the present day, but if you peel away the layers, it's about feelings you had as a kid. So again, I want you to excavate, if you will. Decide, okay, I'm having these feelings, but what is underneath that feeling? Maybe when I found out that my husband was sleeping with prostitutes, I didn't feel good enough. But does that boil down to another primary feeling of anger because my father never told me that I was worth anything, or my mother was super critical of me? Same thing for an addict. You know, what were the primary messages that you were told as a child? And make sure to acknowledge them. And here's the key: allow them to just be. Don't try to medicate them. Don't try to deny them. Don't try to repress them. Don't try to suppress them. But just allow them and write them down and get a good idea of how you're feeling. Then the I. Okay, the I stands for investigate. The I stands for doing the hard work that it takes to understand why these thoughts and feelings affect you. I always say it's the excavation. It is what do we need to look at? What do we need to uncover? What does it mean? How does it affect us? Are there other ways that it's affected us in our past? So I've got to ask you, how does it affect you? What do you need to do to investigate it? Now, interestingly enough, if you're in therapy with me, I will say, don't worry about the whys. The whats are important. Let me, the therapist, worry about the whys. Because you can drive yourself nuts worrying about the whys. But it is nice if you've got self-awareness to link it back to something that's happened in your life. And when you do, I promise you, it'll make all the difference in the world. Okay, so now we've got R-A-I and then N. Now, there's been a lot of information about what does N stand for, and actually this technique came from a meditative process, and she's been an amazing woman. I'm going to look her up right now, because what I believe to be true is that if you want to meditate, this is the woman to do it with. I mean, she's got some unbelievable ways to make you feel like you're in control and like you can work through your life. So again, what RAIN really stands for is a process by which one does meditation and identifies what's going on to either stop the triggers or stop the guilt and the shame. And the N stands for non-identification. And what that means is, and here's the hard part, when something occurs to you, perhaps one of the healthiest things to do is to use my coaching principle. I'm 100% accountable for my behavior. I get to decide how I let it affect me. But I also, more than often, after I do that, I need to detach from what is occurring. Now, okay, if you're an addict and you have disclosed information and your wife or husband is on the floor in the fetal position hurting, you need to comfort that person. You need to reassure them. You need to validate their feelings. And you need to listen to what they need. Maybe they need you to walk away. Maybe they need you to move 5 steps away. Maybe they need you to hold them. Maybe they need you to say, I am so, so, so sorry. So what you do is you ask them what they need. But then it's really important to say to yourself, I have made a mess of my life, and I know that. And I can't be taken down by it, because if I'm taken down by it, if there's any chance for reconciliation here, I won't be good. If I want to have a relationship with my kids, if I'm taken down, I won't be a good father or mother. And so you detach from the self-hatred, the self-loathing that you feel, and you say, wow, I've made a mess of this. But when you detach from it, you're able to say, and I have the power to make it better. Maybe it's honoring the partner and saying, whatever you need from me, I can provide. I'll give you money while we separate, and I will get into recovery, and I'll work on things. Now, if you're a partner and you're working on this non-identification, that means that when trauma has happened to you, you cannot internalize it and end up feeling so bad about yourself that you can't pull out of it. Yes, you're going to feel you're not a rock, but what I do believe to be true is that you have to say, you know what? This isn't about me. This is about him. And there may be some things I've contributed that went poorly in the marriage, but his addiction is not about me. I'm not taking it on. I'm not taking it in. And when you non-identify with that, you're stronger, you're healthier, and ultimately you're happier. That process is really hard, so look up the concept of detaching with love. And then, nonetheless, you nurture and you nourish. Whether you're the addict or the partner, you go, what can I do to feel better? Who can I talk to? Can I go for a good run? Can I take a bubble bath? Can I get in my fellowship and just bitch and moan? Do I need to read? What do I need to do to make my life better? Nurture and nourish. And then that last part of RAIN that I've added is S. And that stands for surrender. You know, when life happens to you, you got to realize that although it feels really personal, and it is, it also is about saying to yourself, I'm going to have faith that this is going to work out. I'm going to have hope, strength, and recovery that I'm going to make it. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to depend on my higher power. I'm going to depend on God. I'm going to depend on Eastern religion. I'm going to depend on Zen. I'm going to depend on whatever that universal principle is for you that makes you feel like you can make it work. Because you know what? Whether you believe in religiosity, whether you believe in Christianity, no matter what, there is something greater than ourselves. We didn't just evolve. There's something greater. And we want to turn that over and say, I have the faith. I always say, don't take me personal. Use the other F word, faith, to know that whatever happens to you, you're going to grow stronger from it. And when you do that, you've surrendered and you've followed the RAIN's principle. So I want to thank you so much for having been a part of this podcast that's going to help you to cope. And one more time, if you want more information about it, you can see I've got to tell you what we have to do here. You go to RAIN, and that's RAIN, and you will reach this meditative person who has created this experience, and her name is Tracy Brach, Brach. She created this principle. Carol the coach has added to it. And, that's what it's all about. Not inventing the wheel, but making it better. So hopefully you will do this. I do this no matter what I'm up against. Whether it's an illness, whether it's a fight with my husband, or whether it's a sleepy dog that doesn't always do what I want. Right, Boo? You know, a video with me wouldn't be a video without Boo Bear. And as you can see, he's really tired. I'll let you go back to sleep, Boo. So we'll catch you next time for more coping skills with Carol, the coach. Have a great night.